All right, looks like we are live, or at least I'm live, waiting for you guys to show up. I'm going to go ahead and just dive into this to get started. Most of you will probably watch this after the fact, as we know by now. Not a whole lot of people are available on Fridays for Facebook Lives, and that's totally okay. But just know that this video will be available to you in the Team WAG members page, and I will be getting it up on the WAG Live playlist of Facebook Coach Facebook Lives on our WAG Live channel after the fact. So you'll have a couple different places to check it out, share with friends, reference it later on. So today, I'll be talking about the perfect check-in, or how to get the most out of your check-ins with your coach. For everybody, my name is Chris Bossum. I've been a coach for 2.5 years now, client of WAG since 2014. So I've been doing this a really long time, been checking in for a really long time, and kind of have a system of processes down to make sure that my weekly check-in happens every week, and to make things easier on me so I'm not struggling to chase after doing that check-in. My check-in is just something that comes and goes, and it's nothing to stress about or spend an exorbitant amount of time on. It's just that little habit that I get done that day of the week, and then I'm moving on my life onto the next thing and just waiting to hear what my coach has to say. So I want to kind of help provide you with some insights onto what I found worked for me, covering just some of the basics that we provide you in the series of emails when we first send off your welcome package, and then you start to get a series of emails from us that give you tips and tricks. And understandably, life happens. You can't always absorb all of that or digest that or read all the information that we give you thoroughly. So I'm going to review some best practices, technology tips, how to make your check-in and make your check-in the best that it can be, and things to describe or talk about that will help that dynamic relationship between you and your coach to get to the bottom of the ever-prevalent issues that you might have, so that we can tackle those big things first. Because in most cases, if we can tackle the biggest sore thumbs or the biggest areas of concern, we generally tend to be able to get people to a matter of consistency a lot quicker. And we kind of iron out a lot of those issues up front to hopefully improve your progress and achievement through the first 3 months that we've got to work with you, and then carrying on past that to get you into a groove. And that's where we see a lot of that magic happen once everything kind of settles into place. So just a reminder, everything does take a lot of work up front, but understand that all that work is building up that foundation in which you'll proudly stand upon and say, I've got this now. It took some work, but man, just as everything else in life, it took some work, but once I put that work together, I've got things situated or stacked in a place where I want it to be. And so I no longer have to put a lot of thought or effort into achieving those things consistently anymore, because now it's just something that happens as a result of all the hard work that you put in prior to that. So just think about that, keep that in mind as we review things. So I've set a timer. I'm going to try to keep this 15 minutes or less, and let's get into it. So the first 3 things is best practices. So review the knowledge base and then ask your coach questions. So in Seismic, you can click on your avatar, go to the knowledge base, and then you've got this wealth of information that the entire WAG team has worked really, really hard on providing you, so that you have all the information you could possibly need up front to basically just get going and just get started with your weighing and tracking, getting familiar with those things. And it kind of does have a order of importance, or if you will, of setup. So the most important things leading down the road as to things you may get into with your coach later on in your journey, depending on where you're at, of course. So do thoroughly review those things. Make note of anything that doesn't seem to make sense, or you might need some clarification from your coach. So you can either send them a message or start to make a list of questions, and you can provide those that feedback to them in your first check-in or your series of check-ins over time. So the more that you understand these concepts and you can grasp them to implement them with ease, the better your coach can understand your level of skill set, and then we know what you're able to handle in terms of adding more things onto your plate that we're going to try, setting new goals, what we know that you're able to keep consistent, and then we can just kind of layer on from there. So that's the big starting point. So don't be afraid to ask questions if something doesn't make sense. That's where we can help you the most, probably. So getting familiar with Seismic as well, not only just being familiar with the knowledge base and all the information that's in there, think about customizing Seismic to your advantage to help you make your check-in every week. So you go into Seismic, into your avatar, and go into your settings. Everybody's on version 2 now, so you should just be able to click on your avatar, go to settings, and you'll see a notifications tab. And you have the choice between receiving emails or SMS or text messages. And those are for anything from notifications, which are for your messages, check-in reminders, if you're running out of time to make your check-in within that 24-hour period of time that you have on your check-in day of the week, or if you've received new messages from your coach. So you can toggle those things on or off however you see fit to be notified when your check-in's coming up, when it's due, when you're running out of time, all those good things. So definitely take advantage of those things. If you don't want to have this other external thing sending you messages or whatever, think about going the extra step and just adding it into the processes you already have. Like myself, I'm a Google Calendar user. I wouldn't get anything done if I don't put reminders or tasks down on my calendar or remember anything. So when I started WAG 4 years ago doing check-ins, the first thing I did was create a recurring weekly event in my calendar for Tuesday saying that my WAG check-in and measurements and photos were required. So being reminded of that 24 hours before it actually happens put me into that mindset to be like, all right, tomorrow I'm ready for this. So what I would normally do is set out my tape measure on the bathroom counter and have that ready to go, and then probably set my tripod up the night before to at least have it out. So it just minimizes that resistance to just make that happen first thing in the morning. So use technology to your advantage. It's there. We live in 2019. There's a wealth of stuff to help us out and make our lives easier. Don't be afraid to use those things. There's nothing wrong with making your life easier. That's how I roll. If I can make my life easier so I can free up my mind to put it towards other things that I want to put my energy on and not stress about the other things, I'm a pretty happy guy. And I think a lot of us could benefit from that anyway. And then finally, for the best practices, watch the Seismic tutorials if you need help. So in my notes here, you'll see a link to the Vimeo page for all of our Get Seismic videos. It's just vimeo.com/Get Seismic. You'll see things like how to submit your check-in, how to set your time zone, how to use the notifications, how to update your logs, put your weight in. Any questions that you have about just the functionality and usability of Seismic is there. And again, if you have questions like, hey, I'm not understanding how to do this, or I'm having issues here, let your coach know. But if you do run into tech problems, we do have the ability to submit a ticket within Seismic by clicking on your avatar and going to the help section. And that's helpful for the WAG team, because anything that goes wrong, we want to know about it so we can fix it, nip it in the butt, move on, so it's not a problem anymore. So we love getting feedback, positive, negative. It always helps us improve the system. So don't be afraid to share that with us and submit those tickets, and let your coach know if you're having any issues with anything. And while we're on that topic, a big shout out to the WAG tech team, Jordan, Tim, Brad working on the app, Matthew, all you guys' hard work. We really appreciate it on the coach's side. I know the clients are raving about it, the new features. We love it. Seismic's awesome, and we can't wait for all the new updates that are going to come this year and all the little feature enhancements and deployments of little cool tricks and things that we're going to be able to do down the road. Like, this is just the start. So know that we've come a long way from the days of filling in an Excel spreadsheet and attaching that to an email and attaching photos to an email or a separate email and sending that over to your coach. So big acknowledgement for you guys, big ups for you. We really appreciate that, and love what you're doing. It's awesome. So, all right, so getting into our technology tips, the first thing with Seismic is just making sure your account is set to the correct time zone. So I'm in the Denver, Colorado, so I'm in the mountain time zone. Luckily, my coach is in the same time zone, so it's not a thing you got to worry about. But all coaches are in, one standard time zone, and then all of our clients are in multiple time zones across the world. So your 24-hour check-in day applies to your time zone. So that check-in is going to come across as it does to your coach whenever it comes across in your time zone. But just make sure that you have your time zone set in Seismic to your time zone. So you're not missing your opportunity to check in or your 24-hour window there. So that's in the links for the Vimeo.com Get Seismic page if you need to know how to do that precisely. But it is within the settings of your Seismic profile. So again, just in getting familiar with these things, get in there and poke around, see what's there, see what settings you have, what you don't have. The more you know about Seismic, the better you're going to be able to use it, the better you'll understand it, and the easier it's going to get as you show up every week and start getting in there playing around. So we already talked about it, but set your Seismic notifications if you want to receive emails or text notifications for instructions from your coach, check-in reminders, check-in time running out, or any new messages. And again, feel free to use your personal calendar to create a recurring weekly reminder of your check-in and your measurements, or if you eventually shift to alumni and you only need that once a month reminder, and you might have like a shifting day of the month that whatever, depending on what you and your coach have worked out, change that so you don't skip it. That's your one opportunity to check in, and obviously you want to make sure you make that. So hold yourself accountable by using technology to your advantage. To save time making your check-in on the day of your check-in, I consider recommending updating your Seismic logs the day before. We have the cool MyFitnessPal sync feature that will automatically port your data from MyFitnessPal into Seismic and show all those trends and your consistency for the week, and then gives coaches the ability to click through into your food diary to actually see what you're eating, how you're logging it, and for us to kind of find any glaring issues with, well, it looks like you might be tracking this wrong, or maybe that's not the best entry to use for this item because it's throwing your numbers off, or this might be why you're hungry most of the time, or here's another option. So that really helps us understand patterns, how you're eating, how you're choosing to eat. We can look for micronutrient deficiencies in your diet based on what you're not eating. All these things help us kind of evolve your nutrition over time, but more importantly, helps us kind of chip away at the bigger factors that we're going to help with your consistency and producing higher levels of consistency sooner on to help you kind of get that ball moving, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get that ball moving to build some momentum on it. So then it's just rolling down the hill, and it's just a matter of avoiding the obstacles along the way. That's what your coach is here for. It's just to kind of help guide you and keep your ball moving in the direction that you want it to head in. So I would always just get in and update my logs the night before. That way the next morning, all I had to do was take my measurements, put my phone on the tripod, use the 10-second timer, and take my photos, upload them, and then write my note to my coach, and I'm on my way. So if you're a single person like me, or your spouse or your partner or whoever isn't available to take your photos for you, and you don't want to do the selfie thing and the over the back thing, and you want to provide some really good photos for your coach, but not only for your coach, but for you too. Like, you may want these good just profile shots, front, side, back, of your progress over time, and you might want to be able to frame yourself in that photo better and just give your coach a better awareness of what your body composition is looking like, to notice those changes and to keep it consistent in terms of lighting, angle, all that stuff for comparison week to week. When we see your photos side to side, and we can shift it from week to week or like month to month, all those things help us out. So a tip to you, use a tripod, or just set your phone up on your bathroom counter, lean it up against something, wherever it works for you. Most phones these days have a front-facing camera, and in the camera app has a 3, 5, or 10-second timer. So what I've been doing since I can remember is setting up my phone on a tripod, getting myself within frame, hitting the 10-second timer, tapping the button, going back to standing, and then just waiting for it. Snap that photo, repeat for your side, back, and other side, and then you're off and you're good to go. One tip that I learned from a client that they were doing, which is pretty smart, is just turn your video on, same premise, stack your phone up somewhere, turn your video on, and then just take a second to go pause in your front position, rotate, pause in your side position, rotate, position yourself in the back position, and then just scrub through the video, pause it, and then just do a quick little screenshot with your phone, how you can press the home or power button, however your device works. Take that screenshot of the video, scrub to the next screen, screenshot. You could do that too. So easy ways to make sure you're just getting those photos in and giving us all the data that we need to monitor your progress week to week and see all of the changes happening. So Hopefully that helps. And then one little caveat with using the MyFitnessPal to Seismic sync is that it will not transfer over your weigh-ins that you've plugged into the logs in MyFitnessPal to Seismic. It's just one of those little hang-ups with the back way that we have to do this. So unfortunately, you will need to step into your logs on this left-hand side, or as it pops up daily, and then just manually type in your weigh-in for that day. So think about that if you're getting into Seismic daily to update your logs, or if you're updating them once a week before your check-in, whatever your system that works for you, just make sure that you have that, because that saves us time for your coach going, hey, just notice you didn't uncheck your weight again, and you didn't put those in. We haven't had that for 2 weeks. So if we could really get that in there, that'd be helpful to just have that other piece of data if that's what you and your coach are doing, because not all coaches and clients take weight or worry about weight. So everybody's journey is their own. So don't forget that too. Quick little caffeine break. All right, so that covers the technology tips. And then now I just want to dive into actually making your check-in to kind of wrap it up. So these are kind of some places to start. And this is what we're looking to hear from you. So do not be afraid to share the details of your week. So like the more that you can bring your coach into your world, the better that we're going to be able to understand you. Like put us in your shoes, put us through your thought process. Let us know how struggles are going, the good, the bad. And just that helps us serve you better when we get to kind of come down to an understanding of how you process things, what your thoughts are in stressful situations, what you might be thinking, or how you choose or go about things in social engagements or out at the bar with your friends, whatever those struggles are. The more you can kind of dive into the world and help us understand, the better we're going to be able to help you overcome those things and say, well, I've got a couple of things we could try. Here's what I suggest. What do you think? And then that's your opportunity to say, this seems like the thing that resonates the best with me and what I feel like, knowing my capabilities and my skill set right now, I can try that. So let's do that. And that poses a new challenge for you the next time you find yourself in that situation. So whether you do like daily journaling, like I personally use like an iPhone note, and I'll just kind of do like a daily Seismic logs, and I'll just say it's a training day, what I did, any explanation of what threw my nutrition off that day, or if I just had an effort moment or whatever it is, it just lets my coach know. I'll kind of keep a little log of that. Then I review that, and then I use that to write my actual summary to my coach. So it's kind of like you're outlining the daily things that happen day to day, and then looking back and reflecting on that allows you to assess what's the glaring concerns here. I didn't really have a problem with consistency this week. That happened because I've got good habits, I've got good systems, processes, etc. But man, I really wish I would have done differently in this social situation, or I wish I wouldn't have just eaten out so much this week, and I needed to make better choices eating out. So when you reflect back on your journaling that you're doing, or the daily notes you're taking, or using those daily Seismic log notes to just kind of like give yourself a little high-level reminder so that you know what to talk about in your check-in, that is so helpful for us into diving in. As I said earlier, what are those glaring issues that we're having that we need to nip in the butt sooner than later that are likely to lead to increasing your level of success even more so. So the more honest you are with us, the clearer we can get to the bottom of these things and help you out. So, and then here's some questions just to kind of get you started when you just open up your check-in and you're like, all right, what am I going to say to my coach this week? Here's some things to think about. So what part of the week went well? Which parts of this week did you struggle with? So things along those lines are, let's start out with 3 things you're grateful for. Or what are 3 wins, as we call them, WAG wins of the week? Like last week you asked me to increase my protein by 20 grams a day. And because I did X, Y, Z, I was able to achieve that goal. So not only mention that you were able to meet goals that were set the week prior, or what you're currently working on, what those high level things are, but let your coach know how you did it, because the hows are very important too. Like we have a what we expect, but how you got there is important for us to understand how you work and what is most beneficial to you to keep utilizing as a tool to help compound those efforts over time. So that's just one less thing we've got to worry about now, because you've got this now. We're locked in, and we can just move you right along and keep you progressing. So other things to ask are like, how are you feeling? Has there been more or less stress than usual? And then what caused this stress? Was it work related, relationships, something with your children, your boss, whatever it is? It's just good to be present and acknowledge where these sources of stress are coming from. And then when you mention stress, though, another layer to that that your coach is going to want to know is, well, what do you do to help manage that? Or are you just kind of saying, well, I'm stressed and I'm constantly in a state of stress and I do nothing to unwind or like try to alleviate that? Or I realized I was stressed and here's what I did to counteract that stress. I started mobilizing yoga more. I made sure to get out for 10-minute walks to get some vitamin D. I started reading just to kind of like immerse myself in another world and distract me for a little while. Like whatever it is, there's no right or wrong so long as it works for you. But we want to know what those things are that you do to help yourself along. And then we can help kind of reinstill those things as reminders of, well, you tend to do better when you have a consistency reading or going for your daily walks. And we notice that when those daily walks don't happen, you tend to get more stressful. So maybe we need to kind of bring you back around again to those daily walks that make all the difference in your levels of stress, because that stress is now affecting your progress. So think about those things and how they tie in, and all those tendrils start to spread through your other world and they start to affect one thing. And it's very much this feedback loop that can happen. And so be aware of that so we can kind of break those loops or create more positivity in those loops. And then obviously, how have your workouts been feeling? The whole goal here is if you're, trying to train harder or make bigger changes and, build your body in the gym, we want to know how that's feeling. And if you're eating enough, if your consistency is proving effective, and what may be going on there. Other things like how have you been sleeping? How many hours per night? Are you guessing how much you're sleeping? Are you actually monitoring this and measuring it so that what you're telling me is factual and not just a feeling you have? All that stuff matters. So another layer of your coach diving in and saying, well, how are you monitoring this? And how are we going to measure if you're making progress in this area that we know could use more work? So, and then obviously if you have any questions or concerns, whether it be something you were reviewing the knowledge base earlier on, or you just came across something, you're like, I wasn't sure how to, weigh raw versus cooked meat, or I didn't realize there's a difference until now because I kind of just get in my mind. Like any of those things that come up, ask your coach that so we can get to the bottom of it sooner than later. And then just if you have any schedule changes or upcoming commitments that might make you miss your check-in, or you've got a vacation coming up, you need to postpone a check-in, whatever it might be, communicate that with your coach. You can also use the calendar in Seismic to put up things like competitions, vacations, social events that you need to plan for. All those things help us set you up to succeed ahead of time so you can go in with a plan instead of winging it if you're not quite there yet, to be able to do so based on your skill set, knowledge level. So remembering that everybody's at their different level here. So we just want to work with you and be on top of those things. So, and then finally, just a reminder that Saturdays are WAG Unplugged. So not WAG'd, but WAG Unplugged. And that's the day that all coaches and staff of WAG have the day off, and we're just closed as a business. So just a reminder to you that that's a day when all coaches go and thoroughly and just get out and enjoy life any way they see possible. We try to disconnect from our phones, from technology that we've been on all week. Try to go outside, go for a hike, bike ride, take your family on a walk, go explore something, go see a museum, set time aside to read, or use that spare time to set yourself up for success for the week, whether that's looking ahead at your schedule and knowing what social situations are coming up that you might need to mention to your coach. Do you need to do extra planning this week because you see that it's going to be a busier week and you're going to be on the go more, so you're not going to be able to rely on your normal processes to leave you feeling successful? All those things matter in terms of utilizing your free time wisely, but also as a break from everything that you're doing during the week to shut down the stimulus a little bit, take care of yourself and hone back in on you, the individual, and take care of you because you're number one. And if you don't take care of number one, it's going to be real hard to take care of everything else in your life. So consider that self-care and make it a priority because you're never going to not benefit from that. I guarantee that. So if you have any questions or concerns or anything that I did not cover in this, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Again, this video will be up on the WAG Live channel here by the end of the weekend if you'd like to watch it outside of Facebook. And as always, be honest with your coach, be open, let them know what you want to figure out. If it's on your mind, if it's mentionable, then it's manageable. So, and we can help you do that. And that's what we are here to do. We want more than nothing than to see you succeed and to live the best life possible. And we do that the best when we work together as a team. So keep that in mind. Welcome all new WAG clients. I hope you're enjoying your time with us so far, and really hope you see the value in what it is that we're trying to do and trying to help you get to, and never stop trying, because as long as you don't give up, you're going to succeed. And I absolutely promise you that. So have a great WAG Unplugged, everybody. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones. And one of my favorite little quotes from a podcast, The Minimalist, they say, use things and love people. So that's my little motto to you for this weekend. So enjoy. See you guys.